Alright guys, I'm going to make some of these videos to help you learn how to play since I'm not actually there to teach you, and since this game actually has a lot of stuff to it, I kind of wanted to help you all out. So the way this game works is obviously you have a new character creation and you have the choice to choose between three factions, which you can see here. You have the Federation, which is basically the people you follow around in the Star Trek show itself, so you know the Enterprise and all that, they're all part of the Federation. You have the Klingons, which are those people that have those weird looking foreheads, as you can actually see one right here and there. They're the ones that have the bird of prey. They're normally most of the time they're the bad guys, and then you have the Romulans, who are they're these people. That's kind of creepy. They have the pointy ears. They're the ones that look like the Vulcans, and they have the warbirds that also turn invisible. So the difference between the three is the Federation and the Klingon. They are definitely their sides are definitely split up. Federation will play with Federation, Klingon will play with Klingon. The Romulans are kind of special because, I guess due to circumstances in the story, they have the ability when they get to level 10 to either side with the Federation or side with the Klingon. So if you became a Romulan, you can be either or. Mostly I play the Federation. I like them the most. And then I do have a Klingon character who is okay, and then I have a Romulan character. To be honest with you guys, the Federation is the best. The Klingons are okay, but they're very biased. Like if you want to be science they're terrible. If you want to be tactical or engineering, they're okay. And then the Romulans also suck because since I guess they're a relatively new faction, the game company hasn't really worked on them that much, so their stuff isn't really that great. They have a lot of they have a shortage of variety when it comes to ships and everything. So aside from picking a faction, you have the choice to pick between three careers. You can either be a science officer. Actually, let me see if I can see if this will actually help. Okay, so you have the choice between three different types of career paths. You have tactical, science, and engineering. There's some brief descriptions there, but I'm not going to read them because you can read them yourselves. So let me go ahead and explain each one a little bit. So there's two types of combat in the game. There's ground combat and there's space combat. And each one has different advantages. So as a tactical officer, you definitely have the advantage in space when it comes to DPS. Your ships will be able to equip the strongest weapons, which are called dual cannons, or at least they do the greatest amount of damage. So when it comes to space combat, you will be DPS. When it comes to ground combat, it's a little bit different. I don't really play on ground with my tactical officer, so I can't really describe it that well. But basically, they have the ability to call in extra security officers, so I guess they kind of are like a support role when it comes to the ground. Science in space is I guess you could call it the mage class, sort of. They do have good healing abilities, but they specialize in like special attacks. Like there's one that's called the Gravity Well, which literally creates this gigantic purple cloud that just sucks in enemy ships and crushes them. They're not the strongest ships. They're also not the most maneuverable ships, but they are pretty fast. And like I said, they're basically like it's kind of like any other game. The mage isn't exactly meant to be a tank or anything. They're just suited to do their special attacks from a distance and rely on the others, such as the engineer, the tactical, to make sure they don't get blown up. Honestly, they're a pretty cool class. I'm going to create a science officer pretty soon. My dad is one. In ground, they are the healer, but that's only in ground combat. They're healer / special on ground combat as well. And the reason why I emphasize that is because when it comes to the engineer, engineers in space have a dual role. They are both the tank and the healer. The reason why they're the tank is because all of the ships, the cruisers, have the most amount of health. They can take the most amount of punishment without blowing up. They're also the healer because the heal, called engineering team, that's what the heal is called, they're able to learn the highest rank of that. So when it comes to space combat, they're the healer. On ground combat, it's different. On ground combat, they are the DPS slash support role, because I don't know if you can see how well you can see this, but there's a little turret there. They specialize in calling in support drones and turrets and mortars, which I'll show again later in probably like another video, but I just want to kind of help you guys out and explain it since I'm actually not there to help you out. So all you need to do is pick a faction, pick a career, and then of course, you know, you guys can make them look however you want. So to keep these, to keep these things from being too long, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it here, and then I'll talk about some other things in the next video.